meeting to order here. Let me get on the right page first, guys. Good evening, folks. We're going to call the meeting to order here at the Swanton Village Complex on 121st Street at Tuesday, November 10th at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is pledge allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. I wanted to just talk about Zoom. I think we'll put it under new town business. I guess it's probably a good spot to me. Executive session, David, we have contracts and personnel to talk about.
Yeah, and also
What?
real estate.
Real estate, okay, I knew one more thing. Okay. I think that's all I have to add.
Nothing new?
Yeah. Nicole?
Nothing new, sir.
Patty?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah. Heather?
Anything comes up, I'll let you know.
Okay, all set. David, anything to add?
Well, I just wanted to note that on number 9, Elizabeth made this request a few weeks ago, and,
Number 9?
yeah, the board hasn't acted.
Yep.
So it's something, it's just a schedule change. We
Yep.
discussed that in the session.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, yeah, we already talked about that, but we can touch on it real
I
quick.
see the hours here.
Yeah, we didn't get a decision yet.
I did miss one thing, under 7, the leader A, we're just gonna move that to the next meeting, because we really don't have any updates on that.
Yep.
And also, under 6, new town business, the election results aren't ready yet, so that'll be at the next meeting on the 17th.
Where is it under, David?
6.
6A.
6A.
Franklin County
Oh,
Election.
yeah, sorry, I was reading it wrong, my mistake. Okay. Minutes, here, motion to approve the minutes from October 20th, select board in-person meeting, regular meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
And, any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Public comment, anybody got anything to add that is not on the agenda?
Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Adam Paxman, Swanton Village resident. Now that it is budget time, just want to make sure we're all cognizant of the times that we're in, and want to make sure that each department, village and town obviously, are doing their best to keep increases down to a very low minimum. I have heard rumblings about the library and an 18% increase, and I'm willing to be part of that discussion to bring it way down. So
I appreciate that. Yep,
that's all I have.
definitely need to do some more discussion.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah. I just wanted to add, the Veterans Day flags in the park on Saturday. It was awesome to have the turnout we had to help put those flags up. And just want to thank everybody that came out and helped. And it's great, and hopefully we can discuss maybe expanding it in the spring.
I think we could find that turnout year after year, twice a year.
I think so. I don't think we'll have a problem with it. I'm just gonna
Record time.
get the right people out there.
It's definitely a beautiful installment
Yeah,
in the
it's
park.
pretty moving. It is.
If we could get some lights on the flags, it'd be phenomenal.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
really nice.
absolutely. And just a reminder, I don't know if that'll be aired by this time, but they'll come down this Saturday. So at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, we will meet to take them down. If anybody's out there willing to help, we'd be glad to have the help take them down. So, thank you. Law enforcement. That'll be you, sir.
That's
We
me.
got your report here.
Yes. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chad Perrin. I'm a sergeant for the Sheriff's Department. I'm stepping in for Chief Cell tonight. I don't usually do these things, so bear with me.
We'll take it easy.
Yeah, we'll take it easy,
I'll
huh?
make it painless as I can.
We won't do it too bad.
So for the month of October, the town saw 115 calls for service, and outside the normal day-to-day operations of property watches and the like. We had several family fights and assaults resulting in arrests, citizen assist, service and restraining orders, thefts, disputes, crashes. The deer are moving, we've had some animal crashes. Wanted person calls that resulted in arrests, 911 hang-ups,
Just about everything, pretty much,
pretty
right?
much, a gauntlet of all.
Is it the warm weather?
During the month of October, we saw, my page here. $38 warnings issued for 40 violations. Some are just multiple for the same stop. And we also had 14 Vermont civil violation complaints issued, which are tickets for the month of October. So a total of 54 motor vehicle stops.
Good job.
$2,427 of fines written for those. Yep.
It's a good
Is,
number.
you probably may not have the answer, but is some of this with some of the highway, extra highway money down to directed patrols and stuff?
Yes.
With the extra-
Some of the,
Yeah.
if you look at the time, you can see some are on contract time
Yep.
for the violation times. I didn't write out how many, but I marked them. Some of them were done in the afternoon hours
Yep.
before contract time. So those would have been grant shifts, whether it's occupant protection or distracted driving
Yep.
for heck time.
I like the, they're pretty busy up my way, but what's the paper here? Yeah. That's good, for where it needs it.
Hey, Chad, forgive me, I probably asked this question a year or two ago. That fine amount, where does that go?
I believe most of it goes to the general fund.
Yeah,
Town
actually,
agency, very-
Kathy might be able to answer that too. Yeah.
Yeah, we get a check.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's,
Small percentage.
yeah, it's a small percentage of
Yeah.
the total, the overall.
If they pay their fines, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, no? I'm good. Anything else for us?
That's all I have.
Anything else?
Nope, thank you.
Chad?
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Good chat. Night.
And the health officer report, we don't have that because Joey's not here, so we'll get that for next time. Review the MVR budget, Mississauga Valley Rescue budget. That would be you, sir.
So, for those that don't know me, I'm Josh Ramsdale, I'm the office manager of the Valley Rescue.
Welcome, Josh.
Welcome.
Give me a,
So you guys all have a copy of our.
well, that's what I'm looking for. Is that in the packet or separate, David?
Separate.
All right. Yep, that's fine.
So, overall, we don't have much change as far as what we're asking from the town. It is up 2% for about $4,000. Our biggest increase is payroll, and that is primarily due to the fact that minimum wage goes up to $11.75 January 1st. So, that's our biggest increase. Thankfully, though, with the increased call volume we've had, we're able to offset a lot of that with billing revenue. This year, though, we've already beat our record for highest call volume. We're already at 1,157 calls to date. So
Wow.
we're looking at hitting probably over 1,300 calls this year.
Wow.
That's busy.
And I'm more than welcome to answer any questions you guys have.
Okay.
Just a couple things. The donations, subscriptions, that's from the flyer, the mailer you send out, asking if people willing to pay some upfront cost, whether it's a donation, this, what, $60 or
Oh, it's
$50?
$50 per household.
Yep.
Is that a donation or is that a,
It's a subscription. We do receive a little bit of donation. So basically, what that covers is $50 covers everybody in the household. And if you have no insurance, or if you have, if your insurance doesn't cover the entire thing, the rest is written off. That $50 covers it. So,
is that an annual fee?
yep.
Certainly, want to certainly thank you guys for everything that you do. It's not an easy job for what you guys do for families in and outside of the college. You're in the community, you're participating in community events, which is a great thing to be out in the community. I'm certainly happy to see a budget that's minimum increase and understand why. So again, I'm happy with that and certainly appreciative of everything you guys do, so pass it all on.
No, certainly, I just haven't had a chance to read it, but I'm just looking at it. You said that the salary increase was due to the minimum wage going up?
Yes.
Is that, you know, did it help or anything to add to the cost? I just see it was quite a big number difference.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
The number on your payroll was quite a bit more from last year to this year.
Yeah. Unfortunately, our minimum, well, it's going up 75 cents. Our entry
Yeah.
level members are starting off at 11 right now. So.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's not much to offset that. Yeah, just call volume, basically the billings is what offsets what we're asking.
Well, I can't beat you up on that because I wouldn't want to do your job for $11 an hour. I can tell you that, so, yeah.
Do you find that it's hard to compete with other community services as far as retention or recruitment?
Actually, our retention and recruitment has been excellent.
Good.
We were able to staff 2 trucks during the day, and usually 1 in the evening and weekends, because that's kind of the lower period of call volume is during those times. We have about 28 members right now, which is one of the highest numbers we've had in a little while, so.
Good.
And no, I'm very thankful to all our employees, and we're definitely able to hold on to our people. It's been excellent as far as our personnel go.
Well, your reputation speaks for itself, I suppose. Your reputation speaks for itself.
Thank you.
Anybody else got any other questions?
Yeah, where are you presently getting your gas and diesel?
We've at Berger's.
Have we price shopped that?
Actually, no, we have not. That's kind of been a long-standing before me that they established an agreement with them as far as a discount. I'm not sure exactly what, but we have not looked around at that.
I question that only because I know, of course, there's a lot of ill feelings with valleys and stuff here with this price gouging and stuff, but I can only say that from a personal view, when I was in business, I used to get 5 cents off the price at the pumps, which with the amount of fuel that you guys use, in a year's time, that would amount up to quite a bit of money.
Yeah, something we can definitely.
I would have to think that it's something that's going into.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Heather, anything?
Not for me.
No?
I appreciate you guys though, very much so, thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole, any questions?
No, but I also appreciate your service to our community. Thank you.
Absolutely. Mark, you good?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing this out
Thanks,
to us. I
Jeff.
appreciate it.
No problem.
Have a
Anything you
good
need
evening.
from us, or you good?
No, we're good.
Okay.
You guys have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you, sir.
Hopefully you'll have a quiet one.
Oh, I hope so.
Don't jinx it.
Yeah. Oh, 2021 fire department budget.
Yes, I'm here on behalf of the fire department as the village fire commissioner. I did not present anything tonight simply because we do not have much to give.
Okay.
I can share that the plan is to get to last year's numbers. As Josh said, we're fighting minimum wage. We will not hear anything on workman's comp, health insurance, or dispatching fees probably until the middle, maybe 3rd week of December. So, we're still hopeful that we're gonna hit the numbers. The one that scares us right now is the dispatching. The contract that we have with St. Albans City ends June 30th of this year. And right now, the contract is for $19,542.
Yeah.
So with the city manager taking over from the police chief, the dispatching and all that, we don't know what to expect.
Ooh, yeah.
So we're just gonna cross our fingers, we're gonna negotiate the hell out of it and, try and get it to as close as what we have now.
What other options are out there
Pardon?
what other options are out there?
There are out-of-county options. I'm not in favor of them, I'm in favor of keeping them local.
I agree.
Yeah.
Unless, it gets to a point where it's $25,000 to $50,000 difference, then, we have to make a tough decision.
I agree with
I
that.
know the fire department wants to keep it local, but again, they have to understand as well, and they do. That if it's a $50,000 difference, we really need to look,
Yeah.
so.
Now, are they dispatch fees for times where people are not in the office, or is it dispatching?
It's dispatching for any fire-related call-in, that's what we're charging. So, and I believe it's on it's not a per call basis, I believe it's based on population, if I remember right.
Per capita or something.
Per capita, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Budget that.
but those are gonna be the big challenges for us, you know. We don't know what workman's comp is gonna be at, the health insurance, we're crossing our fingers. But the dispatch is the wild card right now, we just don't know. So, but hopefully, you know, we can come to your meeting in December at some point, either the 1st or the 3rd, and, you know, maybe have some figures for you.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
the plan is to keep it as close to last year's numbers as possible.
Yeah.
So, and I know Lynn's working her butt off to get it done, so.
Yeah. And you're on the same page as we are about the budgets to keep them down, so
There you go.
that's all
There
I
you
ask
go.
for.
I think that's
That's-
an
that's-
important part with any budget at this time, where we are in 2020.
Yeah.
A lot of people are still out of work, they're hurting for food on the table. They can't afford an extra $5, $10. It seems
Exactly.
some of us are more fortunate than others.
Yeah.
But there are many of the people in community at this year really are not. So I think we really gotta really look at what we're presenting.
And the village has done good. I mean, you know, property taxes came in at a good clip. You know, we still have some that are outstanding, but, you know, I think what we've seen, we're pleasantly surprised that people have paid property taxes, you know, it's because we know what people are going through.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we know what people are going through, and, you know, the state fund with the electric bills that was done, that's been a godsend to a lot of people up here.
Yeah.
You know, that's helped a lot of people out that are taking advantage of it, so. But, no, we understand, we're gonna keep this thing as low as possible, and that's our mandate anyway, as trustees.
Good.
Alan, I have one other question.
Sure.
What's the standard procedure? How do I want to ask? Are the trucks, I realize when you get a call, you roll, but do the trucks roll on a daily basis,
No,
drive around?
no. If they are around during the day, it's probably for training purposes,
Okay.
but other than that,
The reason that I brought that up, which I don't have a problem sharing with you, because I proposed a question to you. This summer, when my house was being built, I was living out at Lakewood Campground. And I also made it a point that I walked that area. And I observed one day the trucks over there just driving around, and it kind of concerned me a little bit.
yep.
And wondered what that was about, but I think you've answered my question.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, because we have to, I know the drivers of the ladder truck and engine 3 need to make sure they've got their hours in on that vehicle.
They have to have their training in.
Yeah, on their training.
They often use the Tabor Point boat launch for training exercises.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Love that, yeah.
That
right.
makes sense, yeah.
Yep. Anything else for me?
I know, just other than thank you, Adam, for coming tonight, I appreciate it. You don't know, we all bash heads on this, so. Yeah, something's better than nothing, you know? and-
Thick skin, James.
Hopefully it's not
Thick
fixing you
skin.
up.
Yeah, no.
You're an
and,
elected
uh,
official,
no,
you're gonna have thick skin.
If we can work on for the first part of December, that'd be great, just so we aren't all crunched
Yeah,
up at the
no,
end of
no,
December.
you know, yeah.
I know it's all, you gotta have this number and not know where to put it together. but-
Yeah, and again,
Yeah.
once we get the dispatching, workman's comp and health insurance, it's, then we can start putting final numbers together, and, when we present something to you in December, it should be pretty
Yeah,
close,
exactly. Yep,
So,
Well, it's not like
I don't know
it's
how the
any
grand list is looking this year,
yeah,
but, that's also gonna factor in, because right now we're at a 76-24
yeah,
differential,
Yeah.
so,
yep, absolutely.
but, I don't know if you're seeing anything different,
The grant list was up a little bit this year.
is it?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but, that's a good thing.
yeah, it is.
That's a good thing. So, anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. I would have
you.
said it for you, had you not been here, so I was aware.
Town old business, VHB Lake Street MQ Open Study update. Now you, David?
Yep. And the public notice for that meeting is in the packet. Right after the,
He's Where?
There are only two things in it, that and
Yep.
so I'll just read this to make everyone aware of the meeting on the Palm Shore Road and Lake Street, so that if they want to attend this, I've already had several people respond to get on the list to be here for the meeting. And the purpose of the meeting is to get public input and concerns from the residents out there and any member of the public about the feasibility study that's being done on Lake Street and the Palm Shore Road for the grant for the pedestrian and bike safety study out there. And part of the grant requires this local concerns meeting to get the local input from people. So I'll read the notice and then ask that anyone interested in attending the meeting either email me or call me and I'll put them on the list for it, because it'll have to be limited to what we can fit in the room here. Okay, here goes, the Palm Shore Lake Street Striping Project, Thursday, November 19, 2020 at 6 p.m. at the Village Municipal Complex right here in this room, 121st Street, Swanton, Vermont. A notice is hereby given that a local concerns meeting will be conducted by VHB, which is the consulting firm that got the project. VHB Consultants on Thursday, November 19, at 2020 at 6 p.m. at the Swanton Village Complex at 121st Street, Swanton, Vermont. The intent of the meeting is to discuss the Palm Shore / Lake Street, with regard to walkability, bikeability, and safety. VHB seeks to obtain comments and concerns about the feasibility project from local residents and other interested parties, including members of the public. VHB of South Burlington, Vermont is a consultant firm working with the town of Swanton in accordance with the state transportation grant to assist with the project. Representatives from the town, village, and VHB will be available at the meetings to address public concerns about the project. Questions and comments should be addressed to the municipal project manager, which is me, Swanton Town Administrator David Discavige, at 802-868-7418, or visit the town webpage, which is listed here in the notice, or you can simply go to Swanton, Vermont, 05468, and the top listing will be the official website page. And then click on the project summary in that button for more details describing the project. And if you plan to attend the meeting in person, please let the town administrator know by emailing me at townadmin@swantonvermont.org.
David, and this is posted?
It's on the website, and the only public place we can post is in indoors, and few people have the opportunity to see it.
Was it in the paper too?
Yeah.
I thought I saw it right in the paper. Yeah.
It was in the paper for
Yep.
people to see. And it's also noticed, as I said, on the town website, on the public notice page.
Okay. That it, David?
Yep.
Discuss road acceptance policy. Is that just a boilerplate from what I asked to have on there?
Yeah, and I'll just briefly, you don't have to really discuss all this tonight, but immediately following the public notice that I just read is a long list of statutory requirements that a town has to go through when it accepts a road or discontinues. In this case, you're talking about accepting certain roads. And just in a nutshell, it involves having the road surveyed, although if it's part of a recent subdivision, they'll accept a copy of the subdivision of that property. If it's an old road somewhere, then the town might have to hire a survey to go out and plot the road out, which would be a little more expensive. They also require having an engineering study done of the road, which involves taking core samples, drilling down into the asphalt and the subgrade to
Yep.
see how many inches of both are there, to make sure it was built to the proper standards. And in the case of Cedar Ledge Estates, when the town looked at that, one important factor that counted in favor of it, in addition to its good condition, was the fact that it had been there for a few years, so it was time tested through the winter months for heating and so forth, and it looked fine. Once all that is done, then it also requires a site visit by the select board to go out and actually view it.
Yep.
And observe the condition. And just in a nutshell, there's more to it if you read through all of this than that little bit. But once that's done, the select board files a report, which I do, and sends it out to the state, and they'll look it over. If there's anything missing, they'll let you know, and you can just send them the information they need if that's the case. And if they approve it, they'll give it a number. The state is the party that gives all the highway numbers to towns. We don't do that. They'll give it a highway number, and they'll officially recognize it on their state highway map for the town. And they'll also add it to the list of roads that you get credit for to get state money to fix roads. So this is kind of the foundation for what you want to do, which is to set up a policy on which roads you would even consider accepting. And keeping this in mind, that if you do have an interest in accepting a certain road, all of this has to be accomplished. So if it's a road that has to be shoddy, it would even be worth considering.
Okay.
And that's about it. So in the future,
Yep.
possibly maybe two board members and myself could sit down and write out a policy.
Yeah, well, that was my suggestion, that we need to have a policy that, some kind of criteria that we want. And I got asked again the other day about another development too, so I think we gotta do something.
Just for definition of the legal trail mileage, when they say trail, they're not talking the trail that Memorial Valley's here. It's an old road like the Decker Road, or it's a no longer
It's
road.
actually Decker Trail.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a road that, well,
It's no longer.
used to be a road.
Correct.
And then going through the same steps that are in this, to discontinue it and make it a trail.
I just want to make sure that that's what it's saying.
Yeah.
Because you could say trail, but I just want to make sure that's not what it's talking about, that it's.
Right.
Yep. Good.
Okay, thank you, David.
And the other, it's part of the step, that this has to go to the planning commission for them to look at also, when you're gonna accept the road, so.
Yep.
Discuss library types.
Yeah, the separate handout you have there, a lot of the libraries has different types of libraries that are asking. Kathy did some research, I did some research, and it's kind of a big question on what, well, it appears to be a municipal library based on what Kathy found going back, way back to the 1800s. But the bigger question is, who actually owns it? Because it appears in the deed from the Golden Circle that used to own it, owned the building and the land, not the library. When they donated the building and the land, it was written out to go to the library trustees and the library, not the town. But the way it's worded, it says the Swanton Town Public Library, something like that, so in the town of Swanton. So it's kind of, depending on how you interpret that, it could mean that, it belongs to the town, but I think a legal opinion on that would be good to get, just to be sure. Because if in fact the trustees own it, then the town's not liable for fixing up anything there. So that's something that needs further research. But he was able to do something, I think.
Yeah, I think before we decide who needs to pay or should pay for any fixing up in the building, I think we need to decide who owns it, and if we can help, then maybe we do so, but I think clarification, I think that we need that first.
Yeah, in the, there's a memo there from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, which is VLCT. And they answer some of the key questions that I presented to them. And one of the questions I posed is whether select board members can be library trustees. And they said yes. So that's an option also.
But they have to run in March.
Well, under the current system, yeah, but the other option is there could be an article put on the town warrant in March, changing it to an appointed board, which means the select board would then appoint whoever wanted to be on that board, instead of having to run in an election.
Yeah, we're not there yet by any means.
No.
I don't know how I feel about that.
But if that's, if any of you guys haven't seen this public library, haven't read this yet, I suggest you guys read it, because there's some interesting information in there.
That was my first homework in March. I read the whole thing with Lincoln.
What's that?
Lincoln and I, my son,
Oh,
we
yep.
read it together.
Yep,
Very interesting.
it is very interesting, so.
More to go.
Yep, more on it. Berry Road FEMA grant update.
Excuse me.
Yes,
So-
did I forget you?
No, I just wondered, there was a suggestion of a legal opinion, is that what you're going to do?
We got a legal opinion on part of it, there's some questions, but.
That part hasn't, have we asked that
No.
question?
What did
Well,
you,
the legal opinion we need from our actual attorney
yeah,
is the one,
from the deed,
how he reads that deed, about who the ownership belongs to.
yeah.
Because any attorney can interpret,
Mhm.
or any
I'd
person
like
can
you-
interpret those words either way, you know.
I'd like you to look back, because
I did.
you did find it, because a couple years ago, the library had issues with the King's Daughters. And I know we dealt with the whole deed thing, it was back and
Well,
forth,
we didn't
and
go with the whole deed, we dealt with the part that was giving the
That's when it was-
daughters use of the room upstairs.
that was, yep.
That's the only part he dealt
But
with.
I thought it also was back to when the King's Daughters gave the library to gave that to the library.
That was in 1992, they did that transfer that David's saying that it transferred to the trustees, and we have to figure out by the interpretation, what was the intent of that? Did it transfer to the trustees and its successors?
Yeah.
Or does it involve the town as well? So there really is, it's not clear.
Yeah,
So
but
we only
what I
need
was
to
saying was, I thought we already had a legal
No,
opinion a
the-
couple years ago.
We did
the town-
investigate the King's Daughters having the capability of using that room,
Yeah.
continuing using that room, that was a question. So
Yeah.
in
Right.
the town report 1991 and 1992 covers that use of the room, along with in the deed it states information about the use of that room as well for them.
That was the issue that he dealt with then.
Yeah,
And
okay.
according to his opinion,
Yeah,
they could still continue to use the room, but they had to give notice to the library like a week in advance or something that
yeah,
they were going to be using the room. And they were arguing that they could go in there and use it any time. What happened was they put a
Yep.
lock on the door.
yeah, I remember that.
Out, and
I remember
that's what started the whole thing.
Okay.
back then. The other question for the town attorney is whether library board of trustees is authorized to accept real estate. That's not really clear to me. It would be like somebody donating something to the select board members. That's the way it's kind of written. And, you know, that's not going to happen. It would have to be a donation to the town. But the way that language is written, it mentions that it goes through the library trustees, and then it's part of the library.
Yeah.
I'd advocate that we ask them two specific questions
Yeah.
and see if they can get clarification.
Yeah.
Before we make any
So
decision.
if you want, I can.
So can you ask Brian to give us opinion on those two questions?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do that then. All right, good, Jim?
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. New town business, Franklin County election results, we don't have any, right, you said?
Do we go over the Berry Road FEMA grant?
Oh, sorry, yep,
Table to next.
yeah, table, okay, that's fine. But we gotta go back to Berry Road, my mistake. Berry Road FEMA update.
Oh, just
Yeah.
that, believe it or not, I got more paperwork from FEMA to fill out
Yeah,
before it's over, hopefully.
I'm not surprised.
So I did that and sent it in, and today, I did that last week, but today the lady that I sent it to, just sent me an acknowledgement that they received it, and
Oh, yeah.
I had to sign the end agreement and send it to them. And she said that whoever the official was there is signing their end, and they're gonna send me the copy of that. And we should hopefully get the money after that. But it was unbelievable, all the paperwork they had to go through for a little project like that.
That's the feds for you. Yeah. All right, that it on that, David?
Yeah.
I asked to put on their Zoom. I asked you a while back to look into our Zoom options as far as, do Zoom at these meetings. And I was asked again today, an email from a resident, whether we're gonna do Zoom again or not. And is there any other options out there other than Zoom? But now I've learned that the complex has a direct line to hook into, so the problem is security.
And Reggie said it works fine,
Okay,
and that would be the simplest.
so are we capable of having Zoom for the next meeting, for the next meeting and on?
Yeah, if the board wants it, yeah.
Okay,
I think we'll have to, COVID restrictions may be coming down the pipe more so
Yeah.
than what's suggested at this point in time, so
Yeah.
I think that we may want to.
yeah.
Or,
What, is there a cost to the town? Is it,
After so many meetings, Elizabeth knows a little bit more about it, but you get so many free meetings, and then after that, you have to pay a fee.
it's not?
We are using FCIDC's license with FCIDC's approval, so we can have as many meetings as we want. We can only have 100 people log on though.
Well, I think we'll be all right on that. I think we'll be good. Okay, so you have the computer that we can use for the next meeting?
I have it.
You have the computer? Okay. So starting from the next meeting on, what we have in, well, it'll be next week's meeting, we'll have the Zoom.
We'll have both, the combined meeting, the in-person and Zoom, right?
In person and Zoom, yes, correct, yeah.
And we can continue to use that Zoom account, we don't need to get one of our own?
That is correct.
Okay,
He's happy it's being used.
all right, great,
So,
thank you.
and you can advertise that wherever we need to, that we'll have the Zoom and whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
the last time we used it, had it on the website and
Yep.
on the agenda page.
Okay, so can you put that down so the public knows then,
Yep.
that we're gonna be able to have that? And whatever you gotta do with Reggie to figure out how to run that.
Oh, I got it.
You got it all? Oh, perfect.
I was there when he
Yep.
tested it.
Yeah, it says you just need to run that line about along the room wall and over to the table.
It's fine, bud.
And we'll test it, we'll have it set up the day before, that
Okay.
way, just to.
Does it seem to work better having it hardwired?
We had 2 or 3 people on total, and there was not an issue.
Great. Wonderful.
It's a segregated line, I guess, for that, so there's no more issue.
no, interference.
No
At
interference.
least from our end, that doesn't mean in somebody else's.
Right, but I mean, I
Yeah.
know how there was complications running off the Wi-Fi, so being hardwired works better.
Community economic development.
So I don't have a lot. We're gonna skip A.
Yep.
That's been tabled until next week. The Shop Local Swanton update, I just wanted to tell folks, we had 500 cards. And we started, and I shouldn't say we, I was not there passing them out, but those who were there passing them out started at 10 o'clock Friday, on a Friday morning, and they were gone. They passed them out for about 4 hours, and they were gone with a line waiting to get them.
Wow.
The next morning. They were gone just like that. So it was a fabulous response to the program. And equally fabulous was that we had more than 40 businesses sign up to participate, and I know several businesses have taken several cards. So I think we can chalk this up as a very nice effort to help small businesses and to help people in the community who are hurting. Couple of lessons learned. We did not say you could not buy beer and cigarettes, so some folks bought beer and cigarettes, but
You know, I don't
It's
know.
about the businesses though.
It really is about the businesses, and honestly, you know, we're spending money, spend it locally, you know, anyway, thank you all. Suzanne Washburn, I really want to give her a shout out. She went to every single business in Swanton, and I don't mean just the village, I mean the town, and she did a lot of outreach, so, and she was there passing out cards, so she was a huge, huge help, so.
Great.
That's just step one in our Shop Local Swanton initiative, and I think you will see more coming down the pike very shortly. And I do want to note that that was funded by a grant through the state of Vermont for $10,000, so we appreciate that as part of the CARES Act.
Nice.
The Northwest CUD discussion, we had that three meetings ago. Sean Caio, if you recall, came via telephone and talked about the communications,
Yep.
I always want to say Union District.
Utility.
No, it's Union.
Union. Yeah, Communications Union District. And you'd asked for some additional information, and there was 5%, 165 town, I think they're mostly town when he gave us the map, that are unserved or underserved, so that's 5%. Interestingly enough, we have, so you know, there was the different levels.
Yep.
And we actually do pretty well. The standard was, and I had to pull it up on my phone because I ran out of the office so bad that it was so quick I forgot it. That the 25/3, which has kind of been the long time industry standard, we're at 2,916 out of 31, so we're actually doing pretty well. We don't have anybody who's 100 over 100, and that is kind of the new goal that they're trying to get to, because they're finding that the 25/3 is not sufficient for what everybody's doing these days. If it's me living by myself, you know, streaming a video or playing a video game, 25/3 is fine. If you're a family of 3 or 4 and you're all streaming or playing games, 25/3 isn't going to get you. I learned all that in the last month. Don't ask me any questions, because that's what I know. So anyway, it was just one of those things that he had approached me about, saying if the town was interested in joining. At this point, they're just getting kind of up and running. They're doing mainly advocacy, because they're doing the last mile. They're trying to get to those percentage of people that are underserved or unserved first, and worry about the 25/3 people later. So I just wanted to see if you had any interest, and just kind of put a button on that conversation. Now that I've thrown a bunch of numbers out.
I would be fine for advocating. I know they were asking us to join the group. I just worry of long-term, what does that mean? You know, that's my initial concern.
So maybe as a compromise, and maybe compromise isn't the right word, it was the one that came to mind, because I have an interest in it, I think there is an economic development impact potentially, is to unofficially, their board meetings are open, their meetings are open, so there's nothing that says that you can't attend a meeting and that you have to join. So at least keep an ear out and just see what's going on. And I know Sean, so maybe that's the route we take, and just see where they're going and report back, kind of like do on an irregular basis with the NRPC board.
My understanding at any point that we could pull away from it, is that correct?
Well, and I'm thinking we don't join. I'll just go to the meetings and then just see if there's anything, and if there's something that it looks like we might need to join, we join at that point, but not join.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think being a part of the conversation is important to not just the town, but to the region in general.
Especially since we do it.
Are they happy with that? Because I know they wanted one of the board members to go to the meetings.
One of the board members are designate.
Okay.
So I
We can
think
designate.
they would like, for advocacy purposes, the more municipalities who are on board, pun intended, then it shows solidarity and unity, which is why I always think it's unity and not union, but
Do you cover the village as well on that?
if I'm going to be there, I can cover the village, sure.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it as trustees, and I mean, we're all centralized here,
Yeah.
and, you know, it's Comcast or
Oh.
Fairpoint, you
Yeah.
get your choice, or Consolidate, whatever it is now.
Yeah.
And they talked about that, getting a choice, because there are some places in Swanton where you don't have the freedom of choice.
Right.
So that is one of the other steps, but the biggest goal right now, and not, I started to say not so much for Swanton, but there are places who are hurting more than Swanton. We're actually in a pretty good position. But I think from an advocacy, it makes sense for us to at least have an ear on the ground. What are they working on?
Yeah, because the concern we had was having to find another 3 village residents that would be part of this group, you know, and volunteering time, and,
I think just keeping an ear out.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
can do
And then
that.
she,
I think that's a
economic
great-
developments for
great
both
idea.
of us, so.
Yep.
I don't see why she can't.
Great
so.
idea.
In the downtown scoping study update, we have had, it's a quick update. We've had the local concerns meeting, and this will come as news to Mark, because I didn't get the email out before the meeting. We had talked about having the alternatives meeting, where the residents see the alternatives. That's why it's called an alternatives meeting. They would present 3 or 4 alternatives, and then you could look at them. We talked about doing that mid-December. I talked to VHB, who is the consultant, about it today, because when we did the local concerns, we did an in-room meeting, and then we did a Zoom meeting. And we ended up doing them separately because Zoom kept cutting out, and so they had representatives both on Zoom and in the room. I feel very, very strong, and let me finish. I feel very, very strong that we do this in person, but we don't do it in December. So what we would like to do is they will go ahead and put the alternatives together, get some big posters or something and put it online, put it everywhere we can think so people can see it, but hold off until at least January to actually, at least January to do an in-person. It really needs to be an in-person. So if you did the Marble Mill and you saw on the wall where they had it and you can go up and really, to do that via Zoom just doesn't make sense to me. But to even think of having an in-person meeting in December makes no sense to me either, given we don't know where we're going with COVID. And I don't want people to be limited in their ability to come check it out. So
Is there a time limit? I mean, does
No.
it need to be in January either?
No.
So,
So it could potentially be
Okay.
even further out. We don't want to lose too much momentum, so we're thinking maybe doing a save the date for end of January, and then if we have to reassess at that point, it may even be
End of December,
mid-March,
you
mid-February, but,
oh, I see.
so it will not, unless the steering committee, and it's not my choice, and Mark is hearing this for the first time, anyway, we can have
Maybe we
that.
could do something to keep interest. We could release, like if there's 3 maps.
That's what they want to do
We
is.
release one every month until February or
Well, I
something.
think and I thought of maybe like, I don't know, putting them on, facing outward so people can look at them out the window here or something and put them online or just, laminate them and put them in the park for all I
Different
care.
places in the community, but I think that's a great idea, holding off. Obviously, you don't want to go too long without the public input, but I think to really take our time and do it right is the important part, because we're going to get one shot at this, and if we're going to do it and do something down there in the downtown, I think it's important to get it right off.
And I think there are ways to do it that we could, maybe somehow use the chamber, the outside of the chamber building, or maybe the side, and I'm thinking out loud, the side of the theater building is a blank space.
Well, these also got very large glass windows
Yes.
if that was
So
an
It's a
option.
library.
Right, there's got to be ways that
Yep.
people can be outside and see them, so we will work on that. But that looks like it's going to be at least January, just because it's,
Yep.
And I'm sure if you approach some of the storefronts on Merchants Row, the big windows, I mean,
Would be
a lot of people.
yeah, it would be really cool is kind of like, maybe even have bits of pictures so you can see what that area would
May
look
look
like.
like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
That'd
so
be
we'll
great.
figure it out, but that's the update.
Unfortunately. You said you were shooting me an email?
Yes. Yeah,
Thank you, Elizabeth.
you're welcome. I did not realize, I turned the page and I got one more.
Yeah, I just was gonna say that.
Yes, so I am not going to read this whole thing. You will thank me for that, I know. So Swanton is a downtown, a designated village center. That means that we get priority points for various grants and things like the municipal planning grant, and some other things. So we get priority points for being a designated village center. So I just got an email last Monday, time flies, that Vermont's Downtown and Village Center Tax Credits Program has a special round of $700,000 in state income tax credits to projects that enhance the historic character and improve building safety of older and historic commercial and community buildings. The next round for tax credits is due Monday, January 4th. If anybody, and I passed this to a couple of folks that I thought of right away in the downtown. So the Downtown Village Center is basically, and help me out here, David, it's from basically River Street where it, at the Depot Street, that up to, go to Farrar Street?
He goes up to, right before York Street, and then down to, I think, to around Farrar Street.
Okay, so it's the village core itself, it's not like, out a bit, but it does.
And also, was the core area there.
Yeah.
Merchants Road.
Merchants
Merchants
Road.
Road and all that, so if you have a business or a property in the downtown core, let me know, and I'm gonna get this out to as many people as I can think of.
Yeah, you get all in what you can.
Just because there are a lot of historic buildings, so I just wanted to get that
How far up
word out.
Canada Street?
What's that?
How far up Canada Street? I don't think it, I think it goes right to Spring, doesn't
Spring,
it?
that's what I'm thinking.
Are we talking like the
Or does it go to the
downtown
church?
is
I'll post
really
a
tiny?
copy of the map.
Yeah.
on
On the plan?
town
Yes.
website.
Yeah, it's not very big, it's the core.
Yes, it's in that
And across the
actually.
street.
So it
Yeah.
goes deep, like,
just couldn't remember
this
how far
river's
it is.
included.
Yeah, I
Yes,
don't
the
remember.
river.
I know, it's been a while since I've seen the
Yeah.
map too, I
And
can't
then
remember exactly,
basically the
but
river.
it's not too far up Canada Street if I remember right, but,
It's
No,
really
it
is the
was
downtown.
further, but then the state cut it back.
Right.
yeah, I remember
You
that.
might be just outside of it.
Maybe I'm thinking
Yep.
of a different
And
section.
is that money only for historic buildings,
Yes.
or is it for any?
Well, it's to maintain the historic character, and typically all of our buildings are.
Yeah,
But if you have something,
but it doesn't have to be classified a
Oh, no.
historic building.
No.
It's just to
you could
maintain the
take a
character
historic
of the
building and make it
40, 50-year-old
Modern.
building, whatever,
Right,
okay.
right.
Yeah,
And keep in mind that because we're all getting older, that historic doesn't mean 100 years ago, I believe it's like 50?
50
Yeah.
is the threshold.
I think it's 50.
Yeah, so I'm a historic.
I'm almost
Darn
there.
it.
Dear, yeah.
And I think that's it for me.
Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth. Do we want to touch on your hours while we're?
Oh, we can. So I passed it out, and I don't
Yeah.
know that I kept a copy for myself.
I'll give you this one back in a minute.
So my hours right now are, Monday is my administrative assistant. Tuesday I'm in St. Albans.
You want this?
No, I can, I
Okay.
think I can actually see over. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I'm in the office. Wednesday, Thursday, and half of Friday, I'm in the office. So what I would like, so this is coming about because FCIDC has gotten some additional grant funding. So we're looking for 16 hours for me versus the 8 to 12 I have been working. So the big flip would be, instead of being in St. Albans on Tuesdays, I would be in St. Albans half of Tuesday and all of Friday. But it doesn't really change when I'm in Swanton. So I'd be there all day Monday, all day Wednesday, all day Thursday, and then half of Tuesday. Did you get all that?
Yes, I got it right in front of me.
Okay, so then what I would do is, I'm typically in these days at 7:30, so I'd work 7:30 to 5 on Wednesday and Thursday, but an hour and a half of that would be FCIDC time. Tim doesn't care where I work from.
Yeah,
He just, as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I can do it from anywhere, what I'm doing for FCIDC. So if you'd rather I'm in FCIDC, I can leave and go to St. Albans and do my hour and a half there. I don't have a problem with that. But I figured if I was in the office on Wednesday and Thursday, I would just stay there and do
yeah.
it.
No, as long as you're working for us, those hours you're supposed to work, and I don't have a
Right.
problem with it.
Well, and I'm, full disclosure, like Tim will call me every once in a while on a day that doesn't belong to him. And I don't say, you have to call me back tomorrow. So,
It's
but
fine. Yeah,
I do the same thing for the town. It all
Oh, washes out.
To me,
Yep.
it does, so,
No, I don't see a problem with it. Anybody else? Questions?
I'm good with
No? You
it. At
guys?
this time.
Yeah.
Can I see that, please?
you have
You
one.
wanna
David.
see the hour thing?
Where?
Do we need to vote on it? Change your, or is it,
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't think so. We don't need to vote on that, do we, David?
No.
No, okay. I'm good with it. Mike's good with it, Nicole's good with it, you guys are good with it? Okay. And that's what, you did the grants for a couple of years, right? Or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, okay.
That's assuming because,
Yep.
it did get me thinking, I'm not sure when my term is up here. I'm looking at Kathy, do you remember?
So,
For the,
I know it's always around budget time.
Yeah.
for the EDC position,
That's
last year, the board approved continuing it to the end of next year,
Okay.
December of
21,
2021.
okay.
Say that again?
Somebody that thought it was a 1 year.
It originally was, but
Originally
then they
was one.
did it for
They
two.
We did
the
two the
last
second
time.
time?
Two, yeah,
It involved.
Okay. So we're good until next fall then?
yeah,
Yeah, to December 31st.
yeah.
2021? Okay, okay, all right. We're good to go then.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, covered all that. Highway, don't have a whole lot. One of the trucks went and got new tires today, which needed to be done. And they needed a couple new rims, they were $60 a piece, the rims weren't usable again, nothing major. Couple trees that we gotta have taken down. There's one on the shoulder road, has some dead stuff cut out of it. The guys had me look at it the other day, and I said, need to get it taken care of, so. And they got another one, I think, in West Swanton. Don't have anything else. They were out cleaning up roadsides today, actually, picking up garbage and stuff.
It was
Seems
bad.
nice out, so.
The garbage on Route 7, and I don't know if they,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's not us, that's the
talked
state,
about
but I
that.
did have Mike call somebody at the state yesterday, to have him clean that
Out in
up.
the corner?
Yeah, would it also be the same with the Taper Point boat launch, because there's a tube TV and a blue mattress there?
Yeah, the boat launch is the,
State.
yeah, whoever we call, wildlife fishing game, whatever down there.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, actually, I came down Woods Hill tonight on the way down, I passed 2 bags of garbage sitting next to the road, so. yeah.
Good Samaritan would have stopped.
It must have been, yeah, exactly. I was already late,
I
sorry.
just got one question as far as highway.
Yep.
I see the village out of, maybe you can answer this, have a couple pallets of bricks over here, or is that something they got from the village, or is that something, the town, is that something they moved out of here, do you know?
No idea.
Do you know if they came and got
I
them?
haven't asked the guys, they may have, Dean might have come and got them, so.
You're gonna tell them to take more.
Yeah, I know, I said, take all they want, so. Yeah. Yeah, so,
That's all I got.
all right.
I want to say about the highway department, I heard that they put up some stakes in the corner of the Wheeler Round.
Yeah.
And I really want to express my gratitude and appreciation for them doing that. I know that was an issue of people driving in the yard on the person's property, and she was very grateful that they did that and
Yeah.
wanted to express that, so
Yep,
thank you for taking care of that.
okay.
Whoever is involved, I don't know how to reach out, if I should reach out to Kevin or what, but
Yep.
hopefully he
No,
knows.
I can pass it along to the guys.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yep, not a problem. Not particular highway, but I just wanted to touch on it. COVID restrictions, I just wanted to make sure everybody knows, that all our employees know that we need to follow the guidelines. If you're traveling out, naturally, as of today, if you're traveling out of state of Vermont, you need to quarantine, proper quarantine and testing and whatever before you can go back to work, so just make sure everyone follows that guidelines. Yeah. Just wanted to remind everybody of that.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah, it is, and we've had some employees that, it is hunting season, so. yeah.
It's a tough time for all of us. We're all in
It
it
is,
together.
yep, absolutely, so, but we all have to abide by the rules, so. Any other necessary business, discuss EDC proposed. Oh, that's you, yeah, sorry. Takes me a minute to comprehend. Correspondence, David, what have we got going on? Nothing?
Nothing.
Wow.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, come on.
I heard that you're supposed to read.
Oh, yeah, so I almost forgot. So, what is this I'm supposed to read, David?
That was.
Because I have an email, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Resident of McConnell Road
Yep,
concerning the situation out there with the lake being low this summer.
yep, well, it's an awful lot of reading.
Request to have the select board direct the listers to give a.
Okay, I see it now, yeah, I recognize it now, yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, who wants to read this?
I'll read it.
You sure you want them?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Reading out loud.
That's perfect, better than I do then.
October 27th, 2020, dear Town of Swanton Administrator and Select Board members. Some residents on the northern end of McQuam Shore Bay wrote an email on September 29th to request that you advocate for property land value reductions for homeowners affected by deteriorating lakeshore conditions and to support efforts to improve lake conditions. In response to the Select Board's request that we clarify our request reviewed in person by Roger George during public comments at your October 6th meeting, we ask that the Select Board do the following. We request that the Swanton Select Board officially urge by resolution that town listers review valuations of those properties along the northern and most affected area of McQuam Shore, some of whom have already appealed in the coming year, with an eye to reducing land valuations in consideration of the reduced quality of the lake conditions over recent years. The reduction of lake depth has been an issue for our properties in the past decade. This is not just a recent phenomenon. The receding lake, more extreme in recent years, is causing more widespread accumulation of muck from decayed plants, an increased impact of phosphorus on vegetation, and pervasive smell from decay and pollution. It is nearly impossible to swim offshore for much of the summer. Some of us have been at our current addresses for as long as 50 years. Lakeshore conditions this past year were bad, but not just a sudden onset. For at least the past 10 years, with ever-receding water, abundant weeds grow right up to the shore, requiring a walk further and further offshore in ankle-deep water to get to reasonable lake levels. On October 6th, another lakeshore resident at 316 McQuam Shore Road dismissed our concerns while indicating that the lake is not perfect near her home either. To put that opinion in our perspective, we took depth measurements 75 feet from the shoreline in a couple of locations. In the bay, the water was no more than 5 inches deep. In the vicinity of 316, the water was at least 36 inches deep or more at the same 75 feet from the shore. We have said all along that the problems we cite in McQuam Bay are related to unusually shallow depths running for more than 700 feet along McQuam Bay. Even though our small area of the lake no longer has premium conditions, we continue to pay premium land taxes relative to comparably sized parcels in town and not on the lakeshore. We would have a difficult time selling our homes during prime summer months due to the obvious loss of lakeshore quality. This is not true just a short distance further south on McQuam Shore Road, where lake conditions appear normal and customary. The towns of Georgia, St. Albans, and North Hero have all reduced valuation of properties most affected by poor lake conditions. Any thoughts that this is just an unusual year were respectfully disconnected from St. Albans' reduction in 2008 and Georgia's in 2015. The Select Board stated during the public comment period on October 6, 2020, that it is not the board's role to lower taxes or adjust valuations. We understand that. However, as town leaders, you are able to advocate for property owners who you must realize have been adversely impacted by the lakeshore's deteriorating conditions that originally were the very basis of higher valuation compared to properties along the eastern side of McQuam Shore Road or properties elsewhere in town that are not on the lakefront. Mr. George spoke to village trustees at their meeting on September 28th concerning their management of the village beach and to thank them for their support in recent initiatives of the Friends of Northern Lake Champlain. One member of the village board stated that for what you are paying in taxes, you should get some relief. We would appreciate the select board proactively supporting our plight by urging town listers to re-examine the valuations of those lakefront properties that have seen a significant impact on the quality of their lakeshore frontage. The lakefront is a key factor in why these properties are valued higher than comparable properties in town not on the lake. This is a small number of properties, all of which no longer have the lakefront cachet that drives interest. Since only a few homeowners have written a request for a reduction in valuation, this will hardly cripple the town budget, as was the stated concern of one board member on October 6th. It is simply not fair from a tax equity perspective for the town to keep charging a land value tax assessment that is of no major changes, as if no major changes in lakefront quality have occurred. We urge you to reach out to the town listers and strongly direct them to consider the negative impact on our properties. On the expenditure side of the town's budget, we are not aware of any newly planned appropriations to specifically benefit Macquam Shore in general or Macquam Bay in particular. If a decrease is agreed to in property tax revenue, we understand that the town tax rate would need to increase to maintain the necessary balance between planned expenses and anticipated revenue. We have run specific calculations to quantify the cost impact to taxpayers throughout the town if land valuations were reduced on certain Macquam Bay properties. For example, to offset the lost tax revenue that would result from revising land values to the currently applicable amounts as if they were on the opposite side of the road for the 6 homes on Macquam Bay who have signed this letter, the total town tax rate would increase by 0.04% from 0.3935 to 0.3939. Townwide, the tax bill for a home assessed at $250 would increase by $1 to offset the revised land valuation. We also encourage the board to investigate budgeting remedial efforts in the coming year similar to those already taken by the town and the city of St. Albans, such as use of a weed harvester, engaging the services of the St. Albans Area Watershed Association, and working with the Friends of Northern Lake Champlain initiative on initiatives they consider viable and productive. As Mr. George recently spoke, we ask you to regularly put Macquam Bay Shore issues on your agenda to deal with concerns. Except for the night that Karen Bates addressed the board, all other discussion of lake conditions has occurred only in public comments. We believe that working to abate the increasingly deplorable conditions of Northern Lake Macquam Bay rests squarely in your jurisdiction. Without action now, these deteriorating conditions will negatively affect this area for years to come. The time for action appears long overdue and critically necessary. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Anna Morrison and Albert Norman. I'm not reading their addresses unless you tell me to. Wayne and Ginny St. John, Roger and Judith George, Randy Webster and Deirdre Lecoutre. Bless me, I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, Real and Carol Bazin and Denise Simard.
Thank you.
Would you like me to attach this to the minutes?
Sure. Okay,
Thank you.
that's it for correspondence, David, or that was the only thing? Public comment? Anybody got anything you want to talk about that's not on the agenda?
Said my piece.
Mr. George, you good?
No.
Thank you. Okay. Upcoming events, Veterans Day, Wednesday, November 11th, town offices and operations closed. Next select board meeting is Tuesday the 17th, 7 PM, at the Village Complex.
And Zoom.
And Zoom, that's correct, sorry. Local Concerns meeting is Thursday, November 19th, 6 PM, the Village Complex. Executive session, I need a motion to go in executive session to talk about contracts, personnel, and real estate.
I move that we find a motion that we enter executive session for the select board to receive confidential contract, personnel, and real estate information for which the premature disclosure of it to the general public would clearly place the select board and others at substantial disadvantage.
All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
A second.
I'll second.
Oh, sorry, yeah, you need a motion, you got,
Second.
Who made the motion?
I made the
Oh,
motion.
okay, sorry, yeah, okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I move that based on the just-made findings, that premature disclosure would place the Select Board and others at substantial disadvantage, we enter executive session.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're now in executive session at 8:11.
Thanks for coming
Thank you,
in.
sir.